Hello, and welcome back to another heartwarming and powerful episode of English in Fluency, the podcast where we do not just learn the English language, but we learn how to live better, stronger, and more fulfilling lives. My name is Alex, and I am your host, your friend and your guide on this beautiful journey of learning. I am so deeply grateful that you have decided to press play today. Whether you are listening to this while you are drinking your morning coffee, or while you are commuting to work on a busy train, or perhaps while you are taking a quiet walk in the park, I want you to know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that is perhaps the single most important lesson for any English learner. And for any human being who has a dream, we are going to talk about the danger of waiting. We are going to talk about why so many of us spend our lives waiting for the perfect moment to start, and why that perfect moment never comes. But more importantly, we are going to talk about the incredible power of taking just one small, imperfect step. Today's episode is titled English Improvement Starts with One Step. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's dive into this conversation together. I want to start by asking you a very honest question. Have you ever told yourself that you will start studying English seriously when you have more time? Maybe you have said to yourself, I will join that English class when my work is less busy. Or I will start practicing speaking when I buy a better microphone. Or I will start reading books in English when I know more vocabulary. If you have said these things, I want you to know that you are not alone. Almost every person in the world has fallen into this trap. It is the trap of the perfect time we convince ourselves that there is a magical future moment where everything will be easy, where we will have endless energy, no stress, and plenty of free time. We tell ourselves that in this future moment, we will finally become the person we want to be. But my friend, I am here to tell you a hard truth. The perfect time does not exist. The perfect time is a mirage, like water in the desert. When you move closer to it, it moves further away. Life will always be busy. There will always be challenges. There will always be a reason to wait. If you wait for the traffic lights of life to all turn green before you leave your house, you will never leave your driveway. The only time you have is right now. And right now is messy. Right now is imperfect. But right now is the only place where change can happen. Let me tell you a story about a man named Thomas. To help you understand this better, Thomas was a kind man who had a big dream. He wanted to write a novel in English. He loved stories, and he had a wonderful imagination. But Thomas was a perfectionist. He told himself that he could not start writing his book yet because he didn't have the right office space. He said, I need a quiet room, with a big wooden desk and a view of the garden. Then I will be inspired. So Thomas waited 2 years until he moved to a new house with a spare room. He finally had the room, but then he said, well, I have the room, but I don't have the right computer. This old laptop is too slow. I will wait until I can afford a new powerful computer. So he waited another year, saving his money. Finally, he bought the computer. He sat down at his beautiful desk, in his quiet room, with his new computer, and he stared at the blank screen, and he felt terrified. He realized that the furniture and the computer did not write the book. He had to write the book, and he hadn't practiced writing for 3 years because he was waiting. He felt so overwhelmed by the pressure of the perfect environment that he couldn't write a single word. Thomas spent so much time preparing to start that he forgot to actually start. This is what happens to many English learners. They buy the expensive textbooks, they download the apps, they watch videos about how to study, but they never actually sit down and do the uncomfortable work of speaking or listening. They are building the perfect classroom, but they are leaving it empty. Do not be like Thomas. Do not wait for the perfect desk. Start writing on your kitchen table. Start speaking in your shower. Start listening on your noisy bus ride. Because an imperfect start is 1,000,000 times better than a perfect delay. Now let's look at the psychology behind why we wait. Usually, it is not because we are lazy. It is because we are afraid. We are afraid that if we start, we might fail. We are afraid that if we try to speak English, we will make a mistake and feel stupid. So we use waiting as a shield. We protect ourselves from the pain of failure by never actually trying. If you never try, you can never fail, right? But if you never try, you can also never succeed. Waiting is a comfortable cage. It feels safe inside, but you cannot grow inside a cage. I want you to imagine that you are standing on the edge of a swimming pool. The water is cold. You know, it is cold. You can stand on the edge and look at the water for an hour, worrying about how cold it is, thinking about the best way to jump in, shivering in the wind, or you can just jump in. Yes, the shock of the cold water will be uncomfortable for about 5 seconds, but then your body will adapt. You will start swimming, and you will feel alive. Learning English is like jumping into that pool. The anticipation of speaking is always scarier than the act of speaking. Once you open your mouth and say the first word, the fear begins to disappear. So stop standing on the edge. Stop looking at the water. Just jump. I want to introduce you to a very powerful concept called the compound effect. This is a mathematical principle that applies to your life. Imagine you have 2 choices. Choice A is that I give you $3 million in cash right now. Choice B is that I give you 1 single penny. But that penny doubles in value every day for 31 days. Which one would you choose? Most people would choose the $3 million because it looks like a lot of money right now. And a penny looks like nothing. But if you chose the penny, you would actually be much richer. Let's look at the math on day 5. You would only have 16 cents on day 10. You would have $5 on day 20. You would have $5,000. It still looks like you made the wrong choice. But then the magic happens on day 31. That penny would have grown to over $10 million. This is how English learning works. When you study for 10 minutes a day, it feels like a penny. It feels like nothing. You think, what is the point of 10 minutes? It won't make me fluent. So you quit. But you don't realize that those 10 minutes compound over time. Knowledge builds on knowledge. One word helps you understand a sentence. A sentence helps you understand a paragraph. A paragraph helps you understand a story. If you just keep adding your penny every day, eventually you will hit the explosion point where your fluency grows rapidly, but you have to trust the small steps you have to value the penny. Let me share another story with you about a woman named Elena, unlike Thomas. Elena did not wait for the perfect time. Elena was a mother of 3 young children. She also worked a full-time job. She was exhausted every single day. She had every reason to say, "I don't have time to learn English." Nobody would have blamed her. But Elena had a burning desire. She wanted to get a promotion so she could give her children a better life. She knew she couldn't study for hours like the students on YouTube, so she decided to steal moments. She didn't have a quiet office. She had a noisy kitchen, so while she was chopping vegetables for dinner, she would listen to English podcasts on her headphones. She repeated the sentences out loud while the onions were sizzling in the pan. Her children would laugh at her sometimes, but she would just smile and say, "Mommy is learning." She didn't have time to read big novels, so she read one page of a book while she was waiting in the car to pick up her kids from school. She didn't have money for a tutor, so she talked to herself in the mirror while she brushed her teeth for 5 minutes. Every night, Elena's English journey was messy. It was interrupted. It was imperfect, but it was consistent. She took one small step every single day. 2 years later, Elena went for that job. Interview, she spoke with confidence, not because she had studied in a perfect classroom, but because she had woven English into the fabric of her real life. She got the job. Elena proves that you do not need more time, you just need more intention. You can find the time if you stop looking for big blocks of time and start looking for the small cracks in your day. Fill the cracks with English, and you will build a mountain. Let's practice this mindset together right now. I want you to do a speaking exercise with me wherever you are. Unless you are in a place where you need to be quiet, I want you to repeat these sentences after me. Feel the meaning of the words as you say them. Let's begin. Say this. I do not need to be perfect to start. Say it again with power. I do not need to be perfect to start. Good. Now, say this. My journey begins with one step today. Deeply believe it. My journey begins with one step today. And finally, say this. I am building my future 5 minutes at a time. Excellent. These are not just words, they are promises you are making to yourself. Every time you say them, you are breaking the chains of procrastination. Now let's talk about the danger of the all-or-nothing mindset. This is a very common way of thinking that destroys dreams. The all-or-nothing mindset says, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. If I can't exercise for an hour, I won't exercise. If I can't study English for 2 hours, I won't study. This is a trap. Imagine if you brushed your teeth only once a week, but you brushed them for 2 hours. That would be terrible for your teeth, right? It is much better to brush for 2 minutes every day. Learning a language is the same. Your brain needs constant exposure, not occasional intensity. If you miss a day of study, do not beat yourself up. Do not say, oh, I failed, I might as well quit. Just say, I missed yesterday, but today is a new day. And take one small step. Do not let one bad day become a bad week, and do not let a bad week become a bad year. The most successful English learners are not the ones who never miss a day. They are the ones who never give up, even when they miss a day. They get back on the path immediately. Flexibility is more important than rigidity. Be like water flow around the obstacles, not like a rock that stops moving when it hits a wall. I want to go deeper into the idea of messy action. We live in a world that is obsessed with curated perfection. We scroll through Instagram, and we see perfect homes, perfect bodies, and perfect lives. We rarely see the mess behind the scenes, but real progress is always messy. Think about how a building is constructed before the beautiful glass tower stands tall. There is mud. There is noise. There are holes in the ground. There are ugly scaffolding structures. If you judged the building by the construction phase, you would think it was a disaster. But the architect knows that the mess is necessary for the beauty. Your English is currently under construction. It is supposed to be messy. Your grammar will be wrong. Your pronunciation will be slippery. You will forget words. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are building. If you wait until your English is polished before you speak, you will never speak. You have to be willing to be a beginner. You have to be willing to sound like a child. Eventually, through the mess, the structure of fluency will emerge. Give yourself permission to be messy. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Without apology, mistakes are just the bricks of your building. Let's imagine a scenario together. Close your eyes for a moment if you can imagine yourself standing at the bottom of a huge staircase. The staircase goes up into the clouds. You cannot see the top. The top represents your goal of complete fluency, where you can understand everything and speak without thinking. When you look up at the top, it feels impossible. It feels too far away. You feel small and weak. This is how many of you feel right now, looking at the huge goal. But now, look down at your feet. Look at the very first step in front of you. Can you lift your foot and put it on that step? Yes, of course you can. It is easy. It takes 1 second. That is all you have to do. Do not look at the top of the staircase. Look at the step in front of you. Today, your step might be learn 5 verbs. Do that tomorrow. Your step might be listen to this podcast. Do that. If you just focus on the step in front of you and you keep stepping, one day you will look up and realize you are in the clouds. You will realize you have climbed the mountain without even noticing how high it was. This is the secret of the one-step focus on the process, not the destination. The destination will take care of itself if you take care of the steps. I want to tell you about a concept called the 2-minute rule. This is a productivity trick that can change your English learning forever. The rule is simple. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now. Do not write it on a to-do list. Do not plan it. Just do it. How does this apply to English? Well, many English tasks can be started in 2 minutes. Do you want to read a book in English? Just read the first sentence. Do you want to learn vocabulary? Just learn 1 word. The hardest part of any task is starting. It is the friction of beginning. Once you start, you usually want to continue. If you tell yourself, I only have to read for 2 minutes, your brain says, okay, that is easy. I can do that. But once you open the book, you usually read for 10 or 15 minutes. The 2-minute rule tricks your brain into starting. It lowers the barrier to entry. So today, find a 2-minute English task. Send a text message in English. Look up the lyrics. To a song, change your phone language settings. Just do something small to break the inertia. Let's talk about the fear of judgment, because this is often what keeps us waiting. We wait to speak, because we are afraid of what others will think. We think, if I speak now and I make a mistake, they will laugh at me. They will think I am not intelligent. So we wait until we are ready. But here is the truth. People are not thinking about you as much as you think people are thinking about themselves. They are worried about their own lives, their own problems, their own insecurities. When you speak English with an accent or with mistakes, most people are not judging you. They are just trying to understand you, and actually most people admire you. They admire that you are brave enough to speak a second language. They respect the effort. So do not let the imaginary judgment of others stop you from taking your step. Your life belongs to you, not to them. Their opinions do not pay your bills, and they do not make your dreams come true. You have to be brave enough to be bad at something new if you want to become good at it later. I want to share a story about a young man named Kenji. lived in Japan, and he dreamed of traveling the world. He studied English grammar in school for 6 years, and he was excellent at taking tests on paper. He was perfect, but he had never spoken to a foreigner. He was waiting until he felt ready. One day, he met a tourist who was lost in the train station in Tokyo. The tourist looked panicked. Kenji knew he could help. He knew the words, but his heart started beating fast. His brain said, "Don't do it. What if you make a mistake? Wait for someone else." But then Kenji remembered his dream. He realized that if he didn't speak now, he might never speak. So he took a deep breath, he stepped forward, and said, "Can I help you?" His voice shook. His grammar was simple, but the tourist's face lit up with relief. The tourist said, "Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I am looking for the Shinjuku line." Kenji pointed the way and used simple words to explain. They smiled at each other, and the tourist left. That conversation lasted 30 seconds. It was not perfect English, but it was perfect communication. In that moment, Kenji became an English speaker. He crossed the line from waiting to doing, and that small victory gave him the confidence to start speaking more. Today, Kenji travels the world and makes friends everywhere, not because his English is perfect, but because he stopped waiting and started helping. He took the step. This brings us to an important point about identity. Waiting makes you feel like an observer of your life. Doing makes you the main character. When you are waiting to learn English, you are telling yourself, "I am not an English speaker yet." You are putting your identity on hold, but the moment you take a step, the moment you speak or listen or read, you are changing your identity. You are saying, "I am a learner. I am a doer. I am someone who takes action." This shift in identity is powerful. When you see yourself as an action taker, you start to act more naturally. You stop asking for permission. You start creating opportunities. So I want you to claim your identity today. Stop saying, "I am trying to learn English." Say, "I am learning English." Or even better, "I am an English speaker in training." Words matter. The way you talk to yourself matters. Tell yourself that you are moving. Tell yourself that you are on the journey. Now, let's address the feeling of overwhelm. Sometimes we wait, not because we want to be perfect, but because we are confused. There are so many resources, so many apps, so many YouTube channels, we don't know where to start. So we freeze. This is called analysis paralysis. We spend so much time analyzing the best way to learn that we never actually learn. If you are feeling overwhelmed, my advice is simple. Stop looking and start doing. Pick one thing. It doesn't matter if it is the best thing. Just pick one book, one podcast, one app, and stick with it for a month. Action brings clarity. When you start moving, you will figure out what works for you and what doesn't. You cannot steer a parked car. You have to get the car moving. Even if you are going slowly, then you can turn the wheel. Then you can change direction. But first, you must press the gas pedal just a little bit. I want you to think about your future self. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Imagine that version of you is fluent, confident, and happy. That future you is looking back at you right now. What are they saying? Are they saying, "Wait longer, wait until you are ready"? No, they are saying, "Please start." They are saying, "I am waiting for you. Start walking so you can meet me." Every day that you wait is a day that you delay meeting your future self. Time will pass. Anyway, 5 years will go by, whether you study English or not. In 5 years, you will arrive somewhere. The question is, where? If you take one step today, And one step tomorrow, in 5 years, you will be in a completely different place. If you wait in 5 years, you will be in exactly the same place as you are now, with the same regrets. The choice is yours, and the choice is made in the present moment. Let's talk about motivation versus discipline. Many people wait because they are waiting to feel motivated. They wake up and say, "I don't feel like studying today. Maybe tomorrow I will feel inspired." But motivation is like the weather. It changes all the time. Some days are sunny, some days are rainy. If you only walk on sunny days, you will never reach your destination. You cannot rely on motivation. You must rely on small habits. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. Discipline is just remembering what you want. Remember why you started. Remember the goal and then take a step, even when you don't feel like it. Actually taking a step when you don't feel like it is the most powerful thing you can do. It proves to your brain that you are in control. It builds mental toughness, and usually, once you start, you find the motivation. Motivation often comes after action, not before, so do not wait for the feeling. Create the feeling by moving. I want to give you a challenge for today, a very specific challenge. I want you to identify one thing you have been procrastinating on in your English journey. Maybe it is writing an email to a friend. Maybe it is recording your voice. Maybe it is learning the lyrics to a song. Just one thing. I want you to promise yourself that you will do that one thing today, not tomorrow, today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Do it badly, do it quickly, but do it. And after you do it, I want you to notice how you feel. You will feel a sense of relief. You will feel a little lighter. That is the feeling of progress. That is the feeling of the backpack. Getting lighter. Keep chasing that feeling. And as we continue this deep journey together, I want to move forward and talk about what happens next. What happens after you take that first step? Because keeping the momentum going is just as important as starting. We are going to explore how to handle the days when you feel stuck, how to turn your small steps into a powerful, unstoppable habit, and how to keep walking when the road gets steep. So relax your mind, and let's continue building your future together. I want to start this next section by talking about a very common feeling that almost every English learner experiences. It is called the plateau. Imagine you are climbing a mountain. You start at the bottom and you are full of energy. You climb fast, and you can see the view getting better and better. You learn new words quickly. You understand simple sentences, and you feel great. But then, after a while, you reach a flat part of the mountain. You are still walking. You are still working hard. But it feels like you are not going up anymore. You feel stuck. You feel like you are putting in the effort, but your English is staying the same. This is the plateau, and this is the place where most people quit. They say, "I am studying, but I am not improving, so I should stop." But I am here to tell you that the plateau is an illusion. The plateau is actually where the real learning happens. Think of it like an ice cube sitting in a warm room. The temperature goes up from 20 degrees to 25 degrees. The ice looks the same. Nothing happens. The temperature goes to 30 degrees. Still, nothing. The ice is solid. But then, at 32 degrees, the ice suddenly melts into water. Did the work happen only at 32 degrees? No. The work happened at 20, at 25, at 30. The heat was building up inside, even when you couldn't see it. Your English learning is like that heat. When you feel stuck, You are actually building up the energy for your next breakthrough. Do not stop on the plateau. Just keep walking because the breakthrough is coming. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Sophia to help you understand patience. Sophia loved gardening. She wanted to grow a beautiful garden of flowers in her backyard. She bought the best seeds and she prepared the soil carefully. She planted the seeds and watered them every single morning. For 2 weeks she looked at the ground, but she saw nothing, just brown dirt. She started to worry. She thought, maybe I did it wrong. Maybe the seeds are bad. Maybe I am not a good gardener. Her neighbor told her to give up and buy plastic flowers instead, because it was easier. But Sophia refused. She kept watering the dirt every morning, believing that life was happening underneath the surface. She did this for another 2 weeks, with no results. Then, one sunny morning, she walked outside and saw tiny green shoots poking through the soil. Within a few days, the whole garden was full of green, and a few weeks later, it was full of beautiful colors. Learning English is exactly like Sophia's garden. For a long time, you are watering the dirt. You are studying, listening, and practicing, but you don't see the results. You feel like you are still making the same mistakes, but you must trust the process. Like Sophia trusted the seeds, the roots are growing deep inside your brain, and if you keep watering them one day, the flowers of fluency will bloom. But if you stop watering because you can't see the flowers yet, you will kill the potential before it has a chance to grow. Now, let's talk about how to keep going on the difficult days. Because let's be honest, there will be difficult days. There will be days when you are tired, when you have a headache, when your boss is angry, or when your children are crying. On these days, the last thing you want to do is study English. On these days, your brain will tell you, take a break. You deserve it. Start again tomorrow. And while rest is important, we have to be careful not to break the chain of habit. So I want to teach you a technique called the minimum viable habit. This means you set a goal so small that it is impossible to say no on your good days. Maybe you study for 1 hour, but on your bad days, do not aim for an hour. Aim for 5 minutes or even 1 minute. Tell yourself, I will just listen to one song in English, or I will just read one paragraph. This keeps the habit alive. It keeps the momentum going. It is much better to do 1 minute of English than 0 minutes, because 0 is the killer of dreams. If you do 1 minute, you are still an English learner. You are still in the game. So on your worst days, just do the minimum, but do it with pride. I want to practice something with you right now. Let's practice being kind to ourselves, because often we are our own worst enemies. When we make a mistake, we say, I am stupid, or I am slow. I want you to change that internal voice. Imagine you are talking to a best friend. Would you call your best friend stupid if they made a mistake? No, you would encourage them. So let's practice encouraging ourselves. I want you to repeat these phrases after me. Say them out loud if you can, or say them quietly in your heart. Say, I am patient with my progress. Breathe and say it again. I am patient with my progress. Good now, say every mistake is a lesson, not a failure. Feel that truth. Every mistake is a lesson, not a failure. And finally say, I am proud of myself for trying. Yes, you should be proud. Trying is the hardest part. Let's move on to a very practical tool you can use to improve your speaking without waiting for a partner. Many people say, Alex, I can't practice speaking because I have no one to talk to. This is another form of waiting. You are waiting for a partner, but you don't need a partner to start. You can use a technique called narrating your life. This is a simple, fun way to practice thinking and speaking in English. Imagine you are the narrator of a movie, and the movie is your life as you go through your day. Simply say what you are doing in English. You don't have to say it loudly. You can whisper it while you are making coffee. Say, I am taking the cup. I am pouring the hot water. I am stirring the coffee with a spoon. While you are walking to the bus, say, the sky is blue today. That car is red. I am walking fast. This sounds simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It trains your brain to find English words for everyday objects and actions. It connects the English language to your physical reality. And because you are alone, you don't have to worry about making mistakes. If you don't know a word like stirring or pouring, don't worry. Just skip it or look it up later. The goal is flow, not perfection. If you do this for just 10 minutes a day, you will be amazed at how much faster your brain can find words when you are in a real conversation. I want to tell you another story. This one is about a young man named Marco. Marco loved to travel, and his dream was to visit London. He saved his money for years, and finally he booked his trip. But Marco was terrified of speaking English. He had studied in school, but he was afraid of sounding silly. He arrived in London, and for the first 2 days he didn't speak to anyone. He used Google Maps to find his way, and he bought food at the supermarket using the self-checkout machines, so he didn't have to talk to the cashier. He was in England, but he was living in a bubble of silence. Then, on the 3rd day, disaster struck. Marco's phone ran out of battery. He was lost in a part of the city. He didn't know it was getting dark, and he didn't know how to get back to his hotel. He started to panic. He stood on the street corner feeling fear rising in his chest. He realized he had no choice. He had to speak. He saw an old man sitting on a bench reading a newspaper. Marco took a deep breath. His hands were shaking. He walked up to the man and said, "Excuse me, help hotel lost." It was not a perfect sentence. It was broken English. But the old man looked up, smiled, and said, "Oh dear, don't worry, son. Which hotel is it?" Marco showed him the address on a piece of paper. The man explained the directions, slowly using his hands to point. Marco understood most of it. He said, "Thank you, thank you." And the man said, "You are welcome. Have a safe walk." Marco walked away feeling like he was flying. He was so happy, not just because he found his way, but because he had survived. He had spoken, and the world didn't end. That moment changed everything for Marco. For the rest of the trip, he spoke to everyone. He asked for directions, even when he didn't need them, just to practice. He learned that people are generally kind, and that connection is more important than perfection. Marco stopped waiting to be perfect and started being brave, and that made all the difference. This leads us to a very important topic. The fear of judgment. We wait to speak because we think people are judging our grammar or our accent. We think they are laughing at us inside, but let me tell you a secret. Most people are not thinking about you at all. They are thinking about themselves. They are worrying about their own problems. And if they are listening to you, they are usually just trying to understand what you mean. They are not grading you like a teacher. An accent is not a bad thing. An accent is a sign of bravery. It means you are smart enough to speak 2 languages. Never apologize for your accent, and never apologize for your English. Simply say, "I am learning," and keep speaking. Owning your story is the most powerful thing you can do when you are confident in your imperfection. People respect you more. They see your courage, and they want to help you. So stand tall, look people in the eye, and speak with the voice you have today, not the voice you wish you had. Let's talk about the input side of things. Listening, you are doing a great job right now by listening to this podcast. Listening is the fuel for speaking. Imagine your brain is a glass of water. Speaking is the water overflowing from the glass. You cannot pour water out if the glass is empty. You have to fill it up first by listening and reading. You are filling your glass. Do not try to force the water out before it is ready. Just keep filling it. Listen to English while you cook, while you clean, while you exercise. Let the sounds of the language wash over you like a bath. You don't have to understand every single word. Your brain is amazing. It picks up patterns and rhythms, even when you are not fully focused. This is called immersion, and you can create it anywhere in the world. You don't have to live in an English-speaking country to immerse yourself. You just need to change your environment. Change your phone language to English. Watch movies in English. Listen to English music. Build a little English world inside your home and live in it. I want to give you another challenge for this week. This one is about curiosity. Children learn languages very fast because they are curious. They ask, "What is this?" and "Why is that?" Adults learn slowly because they are afraid of looking stupid. We need to become like children again. We need to be curious instead of judging yourself. Be curious about the language. When you hear a new word, do not say, "Oh no, I don't know that word." Say, "Oh, that is interesting. I wonder what it means." When you make a mistake, do not say, "I am bad." Say, "Huh, that is funny. I wonder what the right way is." Turn your frustration into fascination. Be a detective of the English language. Carry a small notebook with you. And when you see a word you don't know, write it down. Be a collector of words. Treat the language like a treasure hunt, not a test. When you change your energy from fear to curiosity, learning becomes fun again. And when learning is fun, you'll never want to stop waiting. Let's explore the concept of the 1% rule. This is a beautiful idea that says you don't need to improve by 100%. Overnight, you just need to improve by 1% every day. Imagine if you learned just one new word today, just one that is easy, right? Anyone can learn one word. But if you learn one word every day for a year, you will know 365 new words. If you learn one new phrase a day, you will have over 300 phrases in a year. Small, consistent actions add up to huge results over time. We often overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. Stop looking for the magic shortcut and start falling in love with the small daily steps. Consistency is the only magic pill there is. I want to tell you about a student named Lin. Lin was very shy, and she loved to read books, but she was terrified of speaking. She felt that her pronunciation was terrible, so she never opened her mouth. She waited for years reading silently in her room. Finally, she realized that reading was not enough. She wanted to make friends, so she decided to try a technique called shadowing. Maybe you have heard of it. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and you repeat exactly what they say, immediately, like a shadow following a person. Lynn started doing this with podcasts. She would listen to one sentence, pause, and repeat it out loud, mimicking the speed, the intonation, and the emotion. She did this alone in her room, where she felt safe. She did it for 10 minutes every day. After 3 months of this, Her mouth muscles started to feel different. She felt comfortable forming the sounds. Then she went to a language exchange meeting. She was nervous, but when she started to speak, the words came out smoothly because her muscles remembered the movement. She was shocked. She realized that she didn't need to wait for a partner to improve her speaking. She could practice alone. Lynn taught us that preparation is a form of action. Do not wait to be in a conversation to practice speaking so you are ready for the conversation. Now, let's address the feeling of overwhelm. Again, sometimes we feel overwhelmed because we have too many resources. We have 5 apps, 3 textbooks, 10 YouTube channels we follow, and we don't know what to do. This is called the paradox of choice. When we have too many choices, we choose nothing because we are afraid of choosing the wrong thing. My advice to you is to simplify, pick one thing, pick one teacher you like, pick one book, pick one podcast, and stick with it for a month. Action brings clarity. When you start moving, you will figure out what works for you and what doesn't. You cannot steer a parked car. You have to get the car moving, even if you are going slowly. Then you can turn the wheel, then you can change direction. But first, you must press the gas pedal just a little bit. I want you to think about your future self. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Imagine that version of you is fluent, confident, and happy. That future you is looking back at you right now. What are they saying? Are they saying, wait longer? Wait until you are ready? No, they are saying, please start. They are saying, I am waiting for you. Start walking so you can meet me. Every day that you wait is a day that you delay meeting your future self. Time will pass. Anyway, 5 years will go by, whether you study English or not. In 5 years, you will arrive somewhere. The question is, where? If you take one step today and one step tomorrow, in 5 years, you will be in a completely different place. If you wait in 5 years, you will be in exactly the same place as you are now with the same regrets. The choice is yours, and the choice is made in the present moment. Let's talk about the importance of rest. Waiting is different from resting. Waiting is when you are afraid to start. Resting is when you are recharging your energy so you can keep going. Sometimes you need to rest. Your brain is a muscle and it gets tired. If you push too hard, you will burn out, and then you will quit. So listen to your body. If you are exhausted, it is okay to take a day off. Watch a movie in your own language. Go for a walk. Getting enough sleep, is actually one of the best ways to learn, because your brain consolidates memories while you sleep. So do not feel guilty about resting. See it as part of your training. An athlete does not run 24 hours a day. They run, and then they rest, so they can run again. Be an athlete of the mind. Balance your effort with recovery, and you will be able to keep going for the long run. Finally, I want to talk about community. Learning can feel lonely sometimes, especially if you are learning alone at home, but you are not alone. There are millions of people just like you, all over the world, learning English right now. They are struggling with the same irregular verbs. They are afraid of the same speaking mistakes. They are feeling the same doubt. We are all in this together. Connect with others. Leave a comment on this video. Join a group. Find a study partner when you share your struggle. It becomes lighter. When you realize that everyone is scared, it makes your fear feel normal. Community gives you strength. It reminds you that this is a shared human journey, not a solitary punishment. So reach out. Encourage someone else. Tell them, good job. When you lift others up, you lift yourself up too. As we come to the end of this second part of our journey, I want to remind you of the promise we made. We promised to take one step. We promised to stop waiting for the perfect time. And we promised to be kind to ourselves on the difficult days. You have the tools. Now you have the mindset. You have the stories of Sophia and Marco and Lynn to inspire you. You know that the plateau is just growth in disguise. You know that mistakes are just lessons, and you know that you are capable of amazing things. But this is not the end of our story. There is one final chapter to write in the next. And final part of this podcast series, we are going to put everything together. We are going to talk about how to create a lifelong habit of learning how to enjoy the journey and how to finally break through to fluency. We will talk about advanced techniques and deep mindset shifts that will change your life forever. But for now, focus on today. Focus on your 1%. Focus on your one step. Go out there and water your seeds, even if you can't see the flowers yet. Trust that they are growing. I believe in you, and I am cheering for you every step of the way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting me with your time. And I will see you in the next episode. Keep walking, my friend. The view from the top is going to be beautiful. I want to start this final session by talking about a concept called identity shifting. This is the secret that separates the people who struggle for years from the people who become fluent effortlessly. Usually we tell ourselves, I am a student learning English. This sounds good, but it creates a separation between you and the language. It means English is something outside of you, something you have to chase. I want you to shift your identity today. Start telling yourself, I am an English speaker. Even if you only know 10 words, you are a speaker. The moment you use the language to communicate an idea, you are a speaker. This shift changes everything. When you believe you are a speaker, you stop asking for permission to speak. You stop apologizing for your existence. You start acting like someone who belongs in the conversation. Imagine a musician. Does a musician say, I am trying to be a guitar player? No. They pick up the guitar and they play. Even if they play simple songs, they are a musician. Claim your title today. Stand in front of the mirror and say, I am an English speaker. And watch how your confidence grows. Let me tell you a story about a pottery class to help you understand why quantity is better than quality. When you are learning, there was a teacher who divided his class into 2 groups. He told Group A, you will be graded on the quality of your work. You only have to make 1 pot, but it must be perfect. He told Group B, you will be graded on the quantity of your work. You don't have to make a perfect pot. You just have to make 50 pounds of pots. It doesn't matter what they look like. So Group A spent weeks planning and theorizing and worrying about the perfect design. They were afraid to touch the clay because they didn't want to make a mistake. Group B just started working. They made ugly pots, crooked pots, and strange pots. They made mistake after mistake, but they kept making pots. At the end of the class, the teacher looked at the results, and something amazing happened. The best pots did not come from the perfect group. They came from the quantity group. Why? Because while Group B was making 50 ugly pots, they were learning from their mistakes. Their hands were getting smarter. They were understanding the clay. Group A was so busy, thinking about perfection, that they never learned. The skill, my friend, you are in the pottery class of English. Do not try to make 1 perfect sentence. Make 50 ugly sentences. Make 50 mistakes fast, because that is how you learn the skill. Be like Group B. Get your hands dirty, and let the quality come from the quantity. Now let's talk about deep focus. In a world full of distractions, we often try to multitask. We listen to a podcast while we are scrolling on Instagram, while we are talking to a friend. This is not learning. This is noise. Deep focus means giving your full attention to one thing, even if it is just for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of deep focused study is worth more than 2 hours of distracted multitasking. So I want you to try a technique called the Power Hour, but we will shrink it to the Power 15. Turn off your phone notifications, close the door, tell your family you are busy for 15 minutes, and just focus on English, read a text, and try to understand every word or write a journal entry with care. Give the language your respect, and it will respect you. Back when you focus deeply, you tell your brain, "This is important," and your brain will remember it better. So stop trying to do everything at once and just do one thing beautifully. I want to share a story about a woman named Rosa. Rosa was 70 years old when she decided to learn English. Everyone told her she was crazy. They said, "Rosa, you are too old. Your brain is tired. Why bother?" But Rosa had a why that was stronger than their doubt. Her grandson had married an American woman, and they had a baby girl who only spoke English. Rosa wanted to speak to her great-granddaughter. She wanted to tell her stories about their family history. So Rosa didn't listen to the neighbors. She started with children's books. She labeled everything in her house with sticky notes: the table, the chair, the fridge. She looked funny, but she didn't care. She practiced every single day with a determination that young people often lack. 2 years later, her family came to visit. Rosa sat in the garden with her great-granddaughter, and for the first time she told her a story in English. It was simple and slow, but the little girl listened with wide eyes and understood. Rosa proved that love is the best teacher. She proved that age is just a number, and that a strong reason can break through any barrier. Find your why, my friend. Find the reason that makes you cry with happiness and hold on to it when the grammar gets hard. Let's talk about the fear of success. This sounds strange, right? Why would we fear success? But sometimes we fear success because we are afraid of changing who we are. We worry that if we become fluent in English, we might lose our connection to our native culture. Or our friends might think we are arrogant now. But I want to tell you that learning English does not subtract from who you are. It adds to who you are. You are not losing yourself. You are expanding yourself. You are becoming a bridge between two worlds. You can keep your roots and still grow. New branches, do not be afraid of your own potential. Shine your light bright, and maybe you will inspire your friends to learn. 2, do not make yourself small. Just to make others feel comfortable growing is your right, and it is your responsibility. I want to give you a very fun technique called the teacher method. The best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. You don't need a classroom for this. You just need a teddy bear, a plant, or even an imaginary friend. When you learn a new grammar rule or a new word, try to explain it out loud to your imaginary student. Say, "Okay, today I am going to teach you the difference between make and do." When you try to explain it, you will quickly realize what you understand and what you don't understand. Albert Einstein said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Acting like a teacher forces your brain to organize the information clearly. Plus, it is fun to pretend you are the expert. It gives you a sense of authority and confidence. So go ahead, Lecture your cat about the past. Tense, your cat won't mind, and your English will improve. Let's address the concept of life integration. You cannot treat English like a subject you visit once a week. English must become the atmosphere you breathe. You have to integrate it into your hobbies. Do you love cooking? Stop reading recipes in your native language. Find recipes in English. Do you love yoga? Follow a yoga instructor on YouTube who speaks English. Do you love football? Watch the commentary in English. When you connect English to the things you already love, you stop fighting the language and you start enjoying it. You stop thinking, I have to study, and you start thinking, I want to watch this video. This is the secret to lifelong learning. Make it part of your joy, not just your work. I want you to imagine a library inside your mind. Every book in this library represents a skill you have learned. You have a book for walking, a book for reading a book for your job. Now imagine there is a new book called English. Right now, maybe the book is thin, maybe it only has a few pages, but every day that you take a small step, you are writing a new page in that book. You are filling it with words, with memories, with conversations. Imagine yourself years from now opening that book and seeing that it is thick and heavy, full of stories. Imagine reading the story of how you started scared and hesitant. Imagine reading the story of the day you didn't give up. Imagine reading the story of the first time you made a joke in English and everyone laughed. That book is your legacy. You are the author. Keep writing the pages. Do not leave the book unfinished. It is going to be a bestseller. Let's talk about forgiveness. One last time. You are going to forget words. You are going to have days where your tongue feels like it doesn't belong to you. You are going to say embarrassing things. This is guaranteed. When this happens, you have two choices. You can beat yourself up and say, I am terrible. Or you can laugh and forgive yourself. I choose laughter. Laughter releases the tension. Laughter connects you to people. If you say something wrong, just smile and say, oops, my English is still waking up today. People will love you for it. Vulnerability is attractive. Perfection is boring. Be vulnerable. Be human. Forgive yourself quickly so you can get back to learning quickly. Holding on to shame is like carrying a heavy rock. It only slows you down. Drop the rock and keep walking. I want to give you a final challenge, a promise to the future. I want you to take a piece of paper and write a letter to your future self. Date it for 1 year from today. In this letter, tell your future self what you are struggling with. Now tell them about your fears, but also tell them about your hopes. Tell them, I promise I won't give up so that we can meet in 1 year. Seal this letter and put it somewhere safe, or put a reminder in your phone in 1 year. Open it. You will be amazed at how far you have come. You will see that the mountain you are climbing today will look like a small hill from the perspective of the future. This letter is a contract between you and your dream. Sign it and honor it. As we come to the end of this journey, I want to remind you of the very first thing we talked about. The one step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but it also continues with a single step. The step you take today is just as important as the step you took yesterday, and the step you will take tomorrow. Never underestimate the power of showing up. Just showing up is 90% of the battle. If you are tired, show up for 5 minutes. If you are sad, show up for 5 minutes. If you are busy, show up for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just don't stop showing up. You are building a muscle of consistency that will serve you for the rest of your life. not just in English, but in everything you do. You are becoming a person of discipline and character, and that is more valuable than any vocabulary word. I want to say a personal thank you to you. Yes, you, the person listening to this right now. I don't know your name. I don't know where you live. I don't know your story. But I feel connected to you. We are connected by this shared desire to grow, to learn, and to connect with the world. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Thank you for letting me be a small part of your big journey. I believe in you. I believe in your capacity to learn, and I believe that you are going to achieve things that you can't even imagine right now. So go out there and make mistakes. Go out there and be brave. Go out there and speak with your broken, beautiful English, because your voice matters. The world is waiting for you. If you have enjoyed this long journey with me, please consider subscribing to English in Fluency. It helps us so much to reach more learners. Like you share this podcast with a friend who needs encouragement. Leave a comment and tell me your story. Tell me about your one step. I read every comment, and I celebrate every victory with you. Remember, you are not alone. We are a family of learners, and we are walking this road together. So for the last time in this series, take a deep breath, fill your lungs with fresh air, and let it out. Let go of the doubt, let go of the fear, and fill that space with belief. You are ready, you are capable, and you are an English speaker. Start your journey today, not tomorrow. Right now, take that step. Thank you for listening. This is Alex, signing off. Keep learning, keep growing, and never ever stop believing in yourself. Goodbye, my friends, and see you in the next adventure.